All right, another week of gaming news has passed us by. Let us talk about it. The first thing I want to talk about is that Multiversus, the fighting game, will be closing its open beta on June 25th. So Multiversus put this tweet out on March 27th. MVPs, thank you for the support during open beta. The feedback and inspiration has been amazing. Open beta will close on June 25th as we prepare for full launch in early 2024. Multiverses will be back better than ever with new content, features, modes, and more when we return. And a lot of people did not like this announcement. As you can just see from the top comment, feels weird when people actively spent money on this game. Supposedly people could have spent up to hundreds of dollars on this game as well, so that definitely does not sit right with me. According to IGN, the people behind Multiverses have said they plan to make some major overhauls, so it's possible it could come back with a big renewed interest, but they still have to face the issue of setting the pace when they'll update their content. This is a pretty big problem in Season 2, where there were very little updates and player activity dropped 99% on the PC version. I remember when Multiversus came out, I tried it out for a little bit. I'm not really a fighting games person, but I think the general consensus was that it was okay. It was just basically a free Smash clone. But after its launch, I didn't really hear much about Multiverses. Like, I didn't really see anyone playing it, if I'm honest. None of my friends who are into fighting games were really that interested in it either after the initial launch. And I think they definitely need some time to rehaul it, but I don't think taking it offline is a good idea because people spent real money on this game. So it's not being completely delisted. You can still play it offline. However, you will no longer be able to play it online after June 25th. Let me know if you played Multiverses and what you would do to improve the game. What's also not doing well is PSVR 2. Estimates say Sony's PSVR 2 isn't selling well. It may need to cut the price. A new Bloomberg piece has been published based on estimates from research firm IDC, which say that the PSVR 2 may sell around 270,000 units from its February 22 release date through the end of March. How does it compare to the original PSVR, the best-selling VR headset of all time? There's no direct comparison. The first official numbers we got from Sony is that it sold 915,000 units between October 2016 and February 2017, 4 months after its debut. Then it took until June for them to announce it hit 1 million sales. The tech itself is not the problem. By all accounts, the PSVR 2 is a fantastic VR headset and packs an incredible amount of tech for the price. That said, the price is likely too high, something IDC also concludes in its analysis published in Bloomberg. At $550, it's more expensive than both PS5 models themselves. Plus, you need a PS5 to run it as opposed to standalone Meta headsets. I have a PSVR, the original one. I bought it when it was on sale. And it's a fun little experience, but I barely used my PSVR. I've thought about buying the PSVR too, but it's pretty expensive and we're kind of in a recession, so I think VR is just not something that a lot of people are going for at the moment, just because, one, it's still kind of hard to get a PS5 at the moment. It's not as difficult as the years have been, but a PS5 is still expensive and difficult to find. Plus, on top of that, the VR2 is an additional $500, so it's just not a good time for the VR2 to be out. I think maybe during holiday sales, like Black Friday, it could sell a little bit better, but right now I don't think the VR2 is going to be making any splashes in sales anytime soon. I think we'll have to wait till Black Friday for those sales to really come through. Let me know in the comments if you have bought the PSVR 2 and how much you like it or dislike it. I talked about Fortnite ditching Windows 7 and 8. Steam is also ditching Windows 7 and 8 support next year. The newest features in Steam rely on an embedded version of Google Chrome, which no longer functions on older versions of Windows. Valve's typically curt announcement reads, in addition, future versions of Steam will require Windows feature and security updates only present in Windows 10 and above. If you are running Windows 7 or 8 to play games, then you're extremely in the minority. According to Steam's February hardware and software survey, only 0.09% of users run Windows 7, while 1.43% use the 64-bit version. It's less than half a percent for Windows 8.12. Microsoft itself ended support for Windows 7, 8, and 8.1 in January. So it makes sense that both Fortnite and Steam are going forward and you need to use Windows 10. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be a major issue, but if you are still using Windows 7 and 8, it's time to switch over to Windows 10. January 1st, 2024 is the day of the doom for Steam on the old Windows versions. After that date, the Steam client will no longer run on those versions of Windows. In order to continue running Steam and any games or other products purchased through Steam, users will need to update to a more recent version of Windows. And speaking of Steam, add The Last of Us Part 1 to the list of bad PC ports. The Last of Us 1 isn't immune to the shader plague that causes many PC games to stutter and crash. Sony's latest PC port chugs on all sorts of hardware, regardless of the game's modest system requirements. Players report stuttering, frame rate, inconsistency, and frequent crashes. The root of the problem seems to be from the game's shader compiling, which has become a common issue with PC games over the last few years. Your graphics card has to do some preliminary processing before the world is rendered correctly, and it has to be done in preparation for every scene in the game at least once. In some cases, developers can pre-compile shaders so you don't have to do this when you start the game, but it's not common practice. On Steam, the game has over 1,400 reviews that are mostly negative. Many of them criticize how long it takes to compile the shaders, the number of crashes, and how many system resources it eats up even when it's finished. It's being dubbed The Crash of Us Part 1. I'll show some footage here of the PC port so you can get an understanding of what is happening. In our final news, E3 has been canceled. Almost a year after announcing its return, the Entertainment Software Association announced today to its members that this year's Electronic Entertainment Expo E3 has been canceled. IGN can confirm. Two sources have confirmed to IGN that the organization announced the cancellation via an email sent out to its members today. The email said that while E3 remains to be a beloved event and brand, that the 2023 version simply did not garner the sustained interest necessary to execute in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact of our industry. Some of the publishers that pulled out of E3 2023 were obviously the big three of Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, but also Ubisoft dropped E3, and numerous other publishers dropped. So at this point, it seemed like E3 was just destined to be doomed. You can really blame the pandemic for E3's downfall, because once everyone just started doing their own online events, there just wasn't really a need for E3 anymore. We're still going to get announcements over summer from all these publishers, but they're all just going to do their own individual events. I used to find E3 exciting. I loved watching all the announcements with my friends. But at this point, you can just pick and choose what you kind of want to watch announcements from. Let me know if you are going to miss E3. I doubt that it's really going to make a comeback. And also, that concludes our show for today. Let me know if I missed any news. Feel free to join the Discord to send me news to talk about throughout the week. And if you do like these news updates, feel free to subscribe down below and you will see them every week in your sub box. And if you did like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Helps me out a lot. And I will see you for the next video.